So you played. Morning, Dave. You
Morning.
played. You played Leon 27 minutes the other night against Winnipeg. I'm sure that there was reasons, in-game decisions that you make, but big picture, I'm assuming you can't play your best forwards that much every night. How do you reckon with that?
That was kind of a one-off because we had more power plays than we normally do, and we used them on some face-off stuff as the game went on there. So it was a little deceiving but the power plays were the difference of it there.
Okay, and Joachim Nygaard, he's played 60 minutes of hockey this year.
Mm-hmm.
The guy played 60 minutes on Saturday morning at beer hockey. He's trying to make an impression. He wants to stay in the lineup. He's trying to do good things.
Yeah.
Maybe just tell us about how he does it with that little beast so far.
You know what? He's a guy that we've liked what he's done. He just hasn't got as much opportunity as he probably should have. We were looking at other people ahead of him, and we got to the point where we wanted to try to improve some things in our game, and some of those improvements are geared to the kind of player that he is. He's a quick player, takes time and space away, is a good forechecking player. He played over in Europe the first part of the year before we got going, and was having a pretty good year, but he hasn't had enough opportunity here, so we decided to give him some opportunity. And the first game back, he was pretty good. Hopefully, he can continue that.
Reed Wilkins, 630 Chad.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, Dave.
Morning.
Dave, you guys only have the one win against the Canadiens this season, and a couple of the games have been pretty decisively in their favor. Is there something specific about the matchup that they've been able to do to you, or what do you think it is so far?
I think every game just kind of is a different kind of game. We've had a couple of games we haven't played very well, and that's not indicative of how our team can play. So it's every game is a different game.
Also, I know he's going to have to quarantine and all that stuff, but Ryan McLeod was called up. Just wondering what you've seen when you have been able to see him, and what you think if he gets in, he might be able to add to the Oilers.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of his games. He's having a real good year down there. He's driving the play down there. He's a player that is intriguing because of size, speed, the ability to create some offense, and really we'd like to get him in some games here down the stretch to see where he's at.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Dave, what's the update on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? Anything different from when he didn't go to Winnipeg?
He's skating with the taxi squad guys today, and then he'll get a practice tomorrow. If things go well today, which he had yesterday off, the day before he skated hard today, and tomorrow he'll get a full practice with us, and we'll see where he's after that.
Now I have to ask you about Patrick Marleau, a good Saskatchewan boy, like you. 1,768 games. I've already asked Leon about that. He says he's only 1,300 ahead of me, and he's played 465 games. Yeah. What do you think about the record? I mean, can you fathom it or no?
Yeah, that's one of those ones that you wondered if anybody would ever break it, but you got to give Patrick credit. He has stayed with it, and there's a lot of players that I think once they get to a certain age, they hesitate to put the work in that it takes to get back in shape in the summer and push along. And he's a guy that's been committed to that for years and years. The thing about Patrick is he is a player that's been a very, very good player for a long time. Like he's played on national teams, he played on Olympic teams. He's a player that has played all parts of the game and done very well. So it's a credit to him and his work ethic, his commitment to the game. And the other thing is, you can always, when a guy hangs around that long, you know what? He's a good teammate. He's a good person, and all the credit in the world to him. And it's a great accomplishment, phenomenal accomplishment, playing that many games.
Patrick Henry, Radio Canada. Go ahead, Patrick.
Dave, I know you said you didn't play your best game against the Habs this year, but it seems like Philippe Danault is playing his best game when he plays you guys. Is it something he's doing? Is he doing something special that make him good against your first line?
I don't know. I watch our players, not their players.
Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, looking, you mentioned Draisaitl's minutes, and it's kind of an anomaly with all the power play stuff. But you also only play 2 games in a week again, and you have 4 more days off. So, is that? Do you look at that when you look at minutes for guys that you don't necessarily get too concerned, knowing that you've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off again?
Yeah, it's not just the minutes. It's there's some games you can see a player, if you're playing him too much, you can see it affecting his play. But there's different times when, we used some things where they played some shifts before a TV timeout, and then they had a rest, and then they played some shifts after the TV timeout. So there's some things like that come into play with the minutes there. But we just used him between special teams and some face-off stuff. He got used probably more than normal, but it didn't seem like it was hard 27 minutes, so we'll monitor it as it goes on here. That was a bit of an anomaly, and see, you get into games and you use the people you think you can get the job done with to win, and sometimes that happens.
When Nugent Hopkins comes back, and then ultimately when Ryan McLeod's available, Devon Shore is a versatile guy. Do you want to get back to him with Kara and Archibald? Did you like the makeup of that line?
Yeah, it's just, you got to look at the whole mix of the 12 forwards. So we'll see. Shore, Nygaard, and Cassian had a real good night the other night. Shore was really solid at center ice. So we'll see how it goes this week, and then once McLeod is out of quarantine, we'll see where we're at. But we'll continue to tinker with things until we feel like so we know where our team's moving in the right direction.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Morning, Dave.
Morning.
I just want to link back to McLeod, if I can, for a moment. I think he'd be eligible to play next Monday, but with a guy like that, would you like to get him into a full practice with the team before you thought about putting him into a game?
Probably, because he's going to sit. He's not going to be able to skate for 7 days here. So you want to put a player in a position where he can succeed. So he comes out of it next Sunday. He'll get a couple skates, one with the morning skate, and then we'll see where he gets to that next game. But ideally, you have a practice with him, and he can practice on a line that he's going to play with, and at least give him more of a comfort going into the game. He knows exactly where he stands.
Sure. I mean, it's probably helpful now that this quarantine has dropped to 7 days, and you have a young player that you try to be putting in the lineup theoretically. But are there still some complications of getting a guy up and running after 7 days off, even if it is a young guy?
I think if it was early in the year, you'd be more concerned. But he's played a lot of hockey down there, so he'll. It's tough anytime you're off for a few days. But he's a young guy. I think he'll get back up and going pretty quick.
Sure. Thank you.
Axel Jeroma, NHL.com.
Hey, Coach. Leon is close to becoming the best German all-time scorer in the NHL. He would then have scored 488 points in just 7 seasons. What are your thoughts on this milestone?
Well, it's a very good achievement for Leon. He's of German players that have come over and play in the NHL, there's been some real good ones, but I think Leon would be at the top of that list. He's a dominant player in the NHL. He's a committed team player, and he plays both sides he's a good offensive player and a good defensive player. So it's a real tribute to Leon and the commitment he has. And it's a feather in the cap for minor hockey in Germany that allows a player to develop like that.
Thank you.